All right, welcome to Atomic Cricket Podcast. This episode, we have a very special guest with among us, 6 feet in height, classical left-arm spinner who possessed all the weapons in his armory. He has played 37 one-day internationals, one T20 international, and 8 Test matches for the Indian cricket team. He was also an handy batsman. And for me personally, most of all, he played for the RCB franchise, which I'm a big fan of. So it's really good to meet an RCB player, an ex-RCB player, and now he's a terrific commentator, a very articulate commentator. His voice is crisp, and I love listening to him. He is Kartik Murali. Sir, it's pleasure to have you on this show. You are very busy, and we know that, and you're making time for us. It's very good to have you on this show. Welcome on to the show. Hope you're staying safe,
Firstly,
my dear.
firstly, thanks for getting it right that it's Kartik Murali and not the other way around. Secondly, no need. I don't like any adulation at all because I'm a very normal human being. I'm as normal as you. Just because I played the game for the Indian cricket team, I don't become special. It's very simple. Yes, you should be admiring an Indian cricketer, not an RCB man. What is this? I thought you would say I admire you because you're an Indian cricketer. Rather than that, you're saying RCB. What is this? And lastly, thanks for having me on your show. I am not busy. I am free as, what is the analogy I can think of? As free as a vela.
Yes. Yes, Maitreya, come in, please.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir, for coming. And in today's episode, we are going to have two segments. The first, we will talk about the England-India series, and then we will talk about your life, your journey, and everything. So first, let's talk about the third Test match. And in the first innings, India were all out for 78. And then
I wish they were all out for 278.
They were all out for 78, and then the England batsman hit 432 runs, and with a century from Joe Root, which was really good. And then the Indians again hit a really good 278, but on the fourth day, everything collapsed. I was thinking that it would have been something more. I was expecting 100 from Pujara and then more from Kohli, but it just happened because of the new ball and everything. And then the England team had won by an innings. So, sir, India was 78 all out. So, do you think it was because of India's batting or because England's bowling was really good, or maybe both of them? So, what was your thinking? What was it mainly?
Look, obviously, you have to judge the conditions in England. And anybody who's played in England, you know that first morning, whether you win the toss, it looks good, especially a place like Headingley. If there is any bit of overcast cover, it is always going to do something. Even if the wicket is very flat, but if the overheads come, then it does something. And even if the wicket is green and if the sun comes out, it becomes a good batting wicket. So Headingley is like that. So when you won the toss, which we haven't won for a very long time, there is something expected from the top order. And I think that's where you have to take the responsibility as a batsman and as a team that they made mistakes, very big mistakes, because you can't be doing certain things on the first morning of a test match in England when there is something loaded in the bowler's favor. When it comes to England bowling, it is always going to be the same method because look, Jimmy Anderson is a superb fast bowler. You've got somebody like Ollie Robinson who's literally come and hit the scenes hit the ground running, and he's been spectacular. He's just the way he's bowled, just the intensity and the heart with which he has played. I think it's been very refreshing from an England point of view. So they were going to bowl well. Obviously, they were smarting from their defeat as well. They lost a game which they shouldn't have at Lord's. On the last day, nobody thought that India would win the game from that position, which India did. So they were smarting from their defeat. Obviously, whatever war of words, whatever had happened, had added some spice to it. So you are playing into a team's hands by batting loosely. So if I am a bowler, I am trying to bowl well. If a batsman plays in a bad way, he's playing into my hands. So that was something which did happen. Yes, India applied themselves a lot better, but you're always chasing your tail when you've been bundled out for 78. And also when it came to our own bowling, I don't think we were disciplined enough. Because once you have 78 on the board, you are playing a different sort of a game. You can't just come and price out the opposition. Just you can't think that they got out for 78 unless and until there's something so juicy in the track that you get the team out for 100. You have to be disciplined. You can't just come and bowl everywhere. And India could have done lots of things in a better way. And I'm pretty sure that as an experienced bowling unit and also as a terrific bowling unit, you just look at the way our bowlers have performed everywhere. They would themselves not be happy with what they did. Yes, the batsmen let them down, but still, we as bowlers, you always come back and you trying to do the right thing. So lots of things for India to take home. Yeah, you won one, and that's why Mother Cricket comes to bite you back very quickly. You can't take anything lightly in this game, and that's why it's evenly poised and nicely poised.
And this inning defeat was the first time under Virat Kohli's captaincy. Just wanted to state that stat there. But sir, I mean, look at Joe Root. He's scoring hundreds after hundreds, 300s in 3 matches. And Vijay Lokapalli sir tweeted a few days ago that whenever he switches on the TV, it's Joe Root who's batting on either 40, 60 or 100. So it's the same to me. Whenever I do not watch the whole test match because we have our classes and all those sorts of things. So whenever I just go on to switch on the TV and watch the match, it's this man who's scoring, and he's having his prime year from the very start versus Sri Lanka, then versus New Zealand, India, scoring hundreds, double hundreds. So talk about him. How do we get rid of him? Is there anything that we can do?
Again, it comes back to discipline. Everybody has got some vulnerability, but it doesn't get exposed unless and until you keep prying it open. Okay, I'll give you a very simple analogy. If you can't open a bottle, you're still trying to yank it open, isn't it? You're making the effort consistently. If you have to make a hole in a certain spot and it's a concrete, you're still drilling the hole at the same spot, isn't it? You don't go every part of the wall. You don't say, I'll drill there, I'll drill here, I'll drill here, I'll drill here. No. When it comes to bowling as well, if you have certain weaknesses, if you found out that a batsman is vulnerable somewhere, nearly 90 or 90% of the bowling has to be there. It's the same with somebody like a Steve Smith. All the batsmen have some chink in their armory. So over here, it was very important that for somebody like a Joe Root, who's changed his stance and has changed his trigger a little bit, India had to be a lot more disciplined in a certain channel, which was possibly from outside the off stump coming in. We have seen a couple of times where he's been dismissed, LPW. So that was something which India needed to do majority of the times. If you're going to bowl outside the off stump, he can cut a ball even a ball which is pitched up. So the margin for error for a bowler is very minuscule. And also the field has to be set in such a way that he knows that there are no easy runs for the taking. As a batsman, what do you want? You want to take a single, be at the non-striker's end. So if we are constantly allowing him to do that, then obviously, he's in great form. Sometimes it's even tougher if you're bowling to a Sachin Tendulkar, you have very little space to wiggle around. So as a bowler, you can only do the best thing from your end, which is constantly keep harping on his weakness. And I think that is where India possibly need to improve, because the way he is going, he could possibly get 500s in 5 test matches. And also it was a mind-boggling fact that from whatever England and the rest of the batsmen have scored, Joe Root has scored, I don't know how much. It's just mind-boggling, those numbers. So all the more the reason that we have to be extra disciplined, extra clued in, extra switched on when as a bowling unit and as a bowling partner or a bowling pair, you are constantly hitting the right spots.
Yes, sir. So now we will talk about the bowlers, England bowlers. So James Anderson has been brilliant from so many years, and now Many are saying he's getting old and he has still a few more years, but he's getting old. So they're looking on to Ollie Robinson next. So in this series, he has performed really well. He has been the man of the match, the last match, and then he has taken a 5-wicket haul and 3 wickets in the first innings. So what do you think about Ollie Robinson? Do you think he will come up to be as good as James Anderson?
I already mentioned as soon as we started speaking around 5 minutes ago that Ollie Robinson, the way he's bowled with a lot of passion, with a lot of heart, he runs in. There's something about him. He's up for a fight, so which is great to see. Look, it's too early to predict, and we shouldn't start making comparisons. Will he be the next Jimmy Anderson? A long way to go. Long way to go. Rome was not built in a day. You've seen great spark and great ingredients, great attitude from Ollie Robinson. And for the sake of world cricket, you hope that he's somebody who goes from strength to strength.
And sir, talking about the bowlers, as Maitreya talked, England bowlers were seen bowling fuller in length than Indian bowlers. So that kind of stat went on Twitter viral. So is it something that India need to look on in this series?
Yeah, it's the same, isn't it? When foreigners, when different teams come, foreign teams come to India, the length in India changes. For spinners, the length in India changes for seamers. But our seamers and our spinners are used to the length because that's where they play. Similarly, as a bowling unit, when you go to a foreign country, it's important that you find the right lengths which are suitable to that country, suitable to that kind of a wicket on which you're going to be playing. So it's very, very important that when you're playing test match cricket, this is where a great bowler and good bowlers, there's a huge difference. They can change those lengths. There is nothing called your length. There is something called what is the ideal length, ideal pace for a wicket which is on which you're playing. So those things change, and that's why for a bowler you have to be extra special, extra skillful to be able to do that. So definitely India need to look at it, and also the way the opposition have scored runs. Where has Joe Root scored runs? Where will Malan score his runs? Because Malan got runs. Where does Rory Burns score? And nowadays you have all the attributes. You have all the paraphernalia to let you know that this is what they do. So yeah, for sure.
Sir, then now we'll go to the Indian batsmen. So Indian batsman and England batsman. And in the Indian batsman, Pujara was having a dry run, and then now he has got back his form. But Virat Kohli has been having a dry run, and he has just got a 50. So what about Virat Kohli and Pujara? Do you think they will come back in the next matches and continue in their form the way they got back recently?
Maitreya, these are established players of the Indian cricket team. So form is something which is fickle, isn't it? You saw two batsmen rise up. Yes, they got out in different circumstances. I'm pretty sure the kind of high standards which Virat has set for himself and for the team, he won't be happy with his slump or the lack of form. And again, any batsman or any bowler is just an innings away from getting it. You take a couple of innings to lose it. You take an innings or even a great shot to find it. So I'm pretty sure that they are mentally very, very strong. I hope, I know that they are mentally very, very strong. You know how resolute Pujara is, how dogged he is. He's not going to give up without a fight. Yes, he has repeated a few mistakes, which has been getting him out. So those are the areas where they would be looking at. And I'm pretty sure India, it's also a good wake-up call. They had a great win at Lords, as I said, which was a comeback from behind sort of a victory, which gave a lot of hope to everyone. And also they've had a bad loss, which will also wake them up because India has been a strong side. They've done well everywhere. So sometimes it's good to get a punch on your face to wake you up.
Yeah, Kartik, we've been following this team for long, and I've been hearing your comments also during the commentary. Do you think this Indian bowling unit is probably one of the finest that has traveled, say, in the last 2 decades in terms of making an impact, in terms of bowling out the opposition, and the overall combination of the team? Even though there is one spinner less, it can be debatable. But what are your views on this bowling unit?
Vijay, I've always stayed away from comparing attacks and attacks overall. And the reason for that is the teams around the world have changed. Obviously, what it's like comparing Don Bradman to Virat Kohli. You don't do that. Or I don't think we need to make comparisons. We just need to hail and laud the fact that this current bowling unit is outstanding. They are led and they have traveled well, which is very, very important. And if you look at skill, yes, there are different skills of these bowlers. Again, cricket has changed slightly. The way batsmen approach the game has changed slightly. Certain rules and regulations have changed in one-day cricket, and T20 cricket has come in. Test match cricket has changed ever so slightly. We are getting a lot more results, and batsmen, their techniques have been exposed every time the ball swings. So we need to laud the fact. We need to be happy that we've got a good bowling unit which is doing well. But I'm pretty sure that India, when they had Javagal, Bajji, Anil, Zach, Ashish, Ajit, they were a good, very, very good bowling unit. Their wickets speak, or they tell a big story, that they tell a huge story about the kind of quality they possess too. So I won't compare. That's all I'm trying to say.
Yes, sir. Then about the next match, the fourth test. So in that, coming to Indian bowlers, many are telling we should bring in a spinner, or because in the last batsman, some of them are not hitting runs. They're telling, and someone like Ashwin may give the strength in the end. So what do you think about that?
Look, I've been surprised that Ashwin has not played from the get-go, but there also is something there is also something called team strategy and team thought process. So from that viewpoint, they are of the view that 4 fast bowlers are going to do the trick with Ravindra Jadeja as the specialist spinner. So it'll be interesting. You don't pick a team just because we have lost a game. We pick a team when you look at the surface, what is going to work for India. If the next test match, which is going to be oval, if you're going to find a flatter surface, and oval is generally a flat surface and a big ground, do you think 2 spinners? I have always been of the opinion that 2 spinners, the quality of Ashwin is always going to do the trick. But the team management thinks very differently. So it'll be interesting to see the surface there. And then what does India think? Even in the last game, everybody said Ashwin should be playing. And the way Moin spun deliveries from outside the off stump, you would say, yes, why didn't Ashwin play? So that is something which has been an ongoing debate for a while now.
Yes, Kartik, but see, I mean, the whole team management goes into team selection. I can understand, and they read the pitch better because they are there and they would know the strengths and weaknesses. But what I want to ask is, if when you're doing well and you don't get to play, right? So what kind of thoughts go in your mind? I mean, you have been through that period when you were really well and you couldn't find a place in the squad, or being dropped after having performed very well. So what goes on in a player's mind? I mean, how does he kind of, different people will have different ways to motivate himself, but what is your take on this?
I think, Vijay, we all say that it's a team sport, which it is. But sometimes the thoughts are your own, as you said. When you perform well or when you perform badly, you're the one who's sitting with your own thoughts. When you've done well and you're not getting a game, obviously you're trying to figure out what's gone wrong. Why am I not playing? And that's where I've been of the opinion at all times that if you've got a team management which is very blunt with you, transparent with you, then it eases all those thoughts. So if I've done well and if I'm not going to be playing the next game, if the coach and the captain or whoever that matters comes to me and says, look, you've done exceptionally well, this is the reason. And it's not a stupid excuse. It has to be something logical. It has to be something which makes sense. And if you tell the player, if you let the player know, then many thoughts are at ease or many thoughts come to rest. It's only when nothing is explained, nothing is told, that's where as a player, you're wondering, oh, do I have to watch over my shoulder? Am I going to get dropped? Why am I not playing? What is the reason? So I think a strong team management and a good team culture is something where you're told why you're picked, you're told why you're dropped, and that has to be not a fake excuse, but a right excuse. Otherwise, everybody can see through it. If you're going to tell me something which is just for the sake of it, then I can see through it. So once you tell me the right reason, then I know. So this is where I need to spruce up. This is where I need to tidy up. Or I have done nothing wrong. It's just for whatever team combination or team sake that this change has been made. Then as a player, you're fine. Otherwise, you're absolutely right. You are still playing a team game, but you're sitting in the room on your own with your thoughts. So it can play havoc.
So Kartik sir, talking about Rahane, this fourth test, he hasn't scored for a while now. Yes, he has scored a 50 in the Lord's test, but seeing his consistency, I personally feel we should drop him and move on. Is it the time to move on? Because Pujara, we do not know, is unpredictable. Then you have Kohli,
I
who is
missed
not
you.
scoring.
I missed it. I missed it. Come again.
So when Rahane is not scoring runs, he is inconsistent and is scoring once in a while. And there is Pujara who is unpredictable, and there is Kohli whose average is about 24. So when the middle order is shaky, what I personally feel is we should drop Rahane and move on, maybe to Prithvi Shaw, to youngsters like them. What is your thought on that?
But you're trying to change a middle order batsman with a opener?
Maybe Surya Kumar Yadav or someone.
No, it's too early. I don't think we need those kind of knee-jerk reactions, because we've just won a test match and some of them have contributed to it. And these are guys who have done exceptionally well for India. Look, that's where you don't want those kind of extremes in reactions from anyone, whether it is the team, whether it is your supporters, because 5 days ago we are hailing this team and hailing a performance for doing so well in England and at Lords, and suddenly 7 days later you're just saying, oh, this should happen, that should happen, why didn't this happen and why didn't that happen? It is sport. It's not a remote control game that, or you're not driving on auto cruise that you're going at 50 kilometers per hour in a 50 kilometer zone. You see lots of pitfalls, you see lots of speed breakers, you need to keep changing your speed and accelerate when required, and things are different. That's why it's test cricket. It tests you in a big way. It challenges you in every possible way. Somebody like a Rishabh Pant can't just come and say that this is the way I bat. No, you can't. If the team needs you to block, if the team needs you to temper it down, you have to. And that's why I said, as a bowler, you can't say this is my length. But if the wicket needs something, if the batsman needs something different, you have to change it. So that's why this test cricket is the pinnacle for everyone. And when it comes to that, anything you decide, whatever you decide as a selection panel or as a team management, it has to have logic, that you don't need knee-jerk reactions there.
Yes, sir. So now we will come to your cricketing journey and career. So tell us about how you got into cricket. What interested you to come into cricket, and who brought cricket to you? Means how you got interested at first.
Obviously, every Indian kid is watching cricket on TV and playing cricket with your friends on the streets, and that's exactly what happened for me too. But I never thought I would be a cricketer. And for me, it was by chance, because my school captain in my school in Chennai asked me to come and attend the school trials and join the school team. The school trials were just for the sake of it, but he had already decided that I was going to be part of the school team. So I got picked there. And the very same year, my dad sent me during the summer holidays, he said, why don't you go and attend this coaching camp? And that's where I attended that coaching camp for the very first time, my formal cricket coaching under Mr. M.K. Iqbal. And the very same year, I attended the trials for Tamil Nadu under 12 and was in the standbys. So possibly that's how it started for me. And the very next year, I made the grade. I played for Tamil Nadu under 12. And for me, it started at the age of 11. And I was there for a few years till under 15. I played South Zone, North, under 15, under 12, and then made the switch to Delhi. And it has continued. It continued for 26 years. So I would say that that's how it started.
So Kartik sir, talking about a statement that would have motivated you in a young age when you were young. Kapil Dev, he said that he hasn't seen a player in his 20 years of international cricket like you. So how was
No,
that?
it was slightly different. It was on my test debut. Because I had gone and told Baji that I think we should do this, we should bowl this way because we were defending a very small target in the second innings. So, and I said that I think we should bowl this and I think I should bowl this way. And he just saw that I did fight hard. And in my very first test match, I was not overawed by the situation. When I walked in, it was on a hat trick. Me and Ajit had a partnership of 52 or 54 runs against South Africa on a green top, so which helped the team. And also just the way I bowled in both the innings. So possibly that's one of the reasons why he said what he said. And yeah, it was obviously a great motivation because coming from Kapil Dev, one of the greatest cricketers on the planet, my coach, just walking into that team itself I was in full of awe because Sachin Tendulkar, there's Rahul Dravid, there's Lakshman, there is Azharuddin, there is Kapil Dev, Srinath, Anil. Anil was my roommate. So obviously for any kid who's trying to make a mark, and look, once you start playing cricket seriously, everybody wants to play for India. Everybody wants to play for their country. So that should be the end goal. It is not just because you started playing cricket, so you continue playing the game. Yes, there is enjoyment, but the biggest enjoyment comes when you go and wear that India cap and when you know that the India cap fits you well. So that is something which happens later. But just to get the India cap and to wear it, and that too in a test match, I think there is no bigger pride.
Kartik, if a 16-year-old Kartik in 2021, how would you have approached it differently? I mean, how different it would have been cricket for you if you were a 16-year-old today, and what would you want to bring in, which would have been different from what you were at your age when you were 16?
Quite a few things have changed, Vijay, in the world right now. So when I played the game, I think there was a lot of, what should I say, immense respect for just the sport per se. I'm not saying that it is not there right now. There was a lot of, what should I say, a gap or a bridge between the seniors and the juniors. So you always knew that you were a rookie, you were a freshman, and you had to earn your straps. So players worked really hard, and I never got the feeling that I would be given anything on a platter. And that is something which I feel has changed in the world right now because everybody is feeling entitled to get something. And I will say this bluntly because that is exactly what I see. Because you see lots of people who feel that, oh, I should be playing and I should be playing and I should be getting this and I should be getting that. No, nobody owes you anything because you have to work hard for it. A lieutenant or a brigadier doesn't become a brigadier on the first day. They have to earn their straps. They have to do what is required. They have to show their mettle, and only then do you get all those things. So that is something which I feel has changed a lot. And I don't know how I would have been because you are a byproduct of your times, isn't it? You do what happens around the world. It's whether you call it peer pressure or you feel that this is what's happening in the world when it can happen for him. Why can't it happen for me? Is something which has happened or is something which is debated a long time ago. From a personal point of view, I would just say that I have always burnt lots of bridges because of being very blunt and outspoken. Do you think I could have changed myself? I don't know. I would possibly try and temper it down. I've tried, but sometimes it doesn't help. I suppose your second skin is your second skin. A scorpion will still come and bite you. That's its second skin, isn't it? I'm not saying that I am a scorpion, but I'm just saying that it's tough to change your basic nature in terms of the fact that when you see something, when it is not palatable or it doesn't sit well with you, I'm somebody who says it. So when you say it, it doesn't always work well. Maybe that is something which I would try and change as a 16-year-old if I was one now. But apart from that, I think you start playing the game because you love the game. You start wanting to do well in the game because you feel you're good enough to do well in the game. And whatever you get in the process is something which you feel are the byproducts of blessings, your hard work, and your good karma. And I just hope that everyone, whoever has achieved whatever and got whatever, is happy sitting with it. And I'm happy that way.
Yes, sir. Then in the first class career, as a batsman also, you had many runs, about 4,000 runs. And as a bowler also, you had more than 600 wickets. And so we will talk about your Irani Cup record. So you took 9 wickets in that innings. You should have taken one more wicket. It would have been 10 wickets in an innings. And so talk to us about that when you bowled there, how you felt before the match and how you felt after the match, and that whole experience, what different people said and different people's reactions after your record. So talk about that.
I can't remember too many reactions. I just had a wonderful captain in VVS Lakshman. And the bowling unit we had, I never thought I would get a bowl in the first innings because it was seaming a lot. It was Wankhede. It was the old Wankhede. Did a lot for the bowlers. So I never thought that I would get a bowl. So I was surprised when I got 4 or 5 in the first. And then the second innings, our batsmen batted brilliantly. We had a wonderful team. Can you imagine somebody like a Virender Sehwag not playing in the 11 of that rest of India team? So he was sitting out. So that's how the team was. And for me, second innings, again, when I was given the ball, it's just one of those days, isn't it? You don't plan a 9-wicket haul or a 10-wicket haul. You just bowl well. And it's your day. There are other equally and even better bowlers playing alongside me. And they don't find 1 wicket. It's just amazing. I don't think it's a script any bowler can write. It is just preordained, or as you say, every dog has his day. One of those days for a dog like me.
So Kartik sir, there was some question from our friends on Twitter. So they told me to ask you on the story when you made your test debut. You didn't have shoes, and Sanjay Bangar lent him his spikes. So talk about that story. How was it?
Look, you come from a humble background, and humble as in not hand to mouth, but I was not somebody who had the privileges of what should I say, all these fancy shoes when I was playing. So that actually hampered me, because at the age of 23, my L5 and S1 was completely degenerated, the disc. And that was because of bad footwear when you're playing the sport. And it's of paramount importance, because everybody's feet land in different ways. Some people have arches. It's very important that everybody gets good footwear which suits them. Just because it's a fancy name doesn't mean anything. It needs to suit your body and suit your feet, because at the end of the day, our entire body weight is being carried by those shoes, is being carried by our feet. So that was something which happened. And so in the process, I didn't have good shoes, and my shoes had also torn, whichever I had, which I'd used in first class cricket. And that was when Sanjay gave me those shoes, and he said, "You're making your test debut and you deserve these." So there were a pair of Adidas. And immediately after that first test match, Sachin introduced me to the sports marketing head of Adidas, who happens to be a very dear family person now, more than anything else, who Vijay also knows. His name is Mr. Ganesh. And second game onwards, Adidas started sponsoring me or supporting me. But yeah, you're right. The first test match, I played with Sanjay Bangar's shoes. And I still have them. I just hope they're not rotten somewhere.
Quickly tell us, Kartik, how many pairs do you have now in your house? In that big cupboard?
No, not cricket shoes any longer, Vijay.
Oh, okay.
Not cricket shoes, because I've given them all away. No point in keeping them now, because they tend to wither away. The midsole goes, so it's better to give it to kids who can use it. Those things can't be kept now. Yeah.
Correct. So I'll quickly ask you some Twitter questions, and then I'll pass on to Chiru and Maitreya. They'll have some, because we were flooded with these questions. So brief answers will do.
All right.
One is, this is from Rishi Upadhyay, who wants to know, could Shikhar and Murali Vijay, could their careers have been better as openers?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel definitely they're good players, especially Murali Vijay in a test match format. I really used to love, and I've discussed so many times with somebody as great as someone as great as Mr. Gavaskar, that he was possibly one of the best levers of a cricket ball. And sometimes Matthew Hayden always talks about it. He says the biggest art of an opener is how good you are at leaving the ball. You don't get runs for it, but that is what wears the bowler down. And I think Murali Vijay was graceful, elegant. He had all the shots. somebody who could play all the shots in T20 cricket. He actually cut down his shots, especially the pull. He would duck very nicely, never got bothered by the short ball, knew exactly where his off stump was. So I felt that he was a cricketer who we could have persisted with, and because he was a special player. Shikhar, unfortunately for him, I think every time he went abroad, he was given a couple of games, and if he failed, he was dropped, and he never completed a tour. Whereas in India, he got runs. So it's something which starts adding to your tag. It's like, oh, he goes out, he doesn't get runs, or one bad innings, and you're suddenly starting to question a batsman like Shikhar Dhawan. So yeah, absolutely, both of them will feel that possibly they could have had better chances and gotten better chances and been better supported as well.
Shreyansh Gupta wants to know sharing dressing room with Sachin Tendulkar.
Sharing dress. Was he sharing or I was sharing with him? No, absolutely special. What the god of cricket for all of us, and it was just special because I still remember some of the times when obviously it's not just about him playing innings and him playing the games and all. That is all something which everybody, the world has seen. So when you're practicing and stuff, some of the things which he could do, playing different shots to the same delivery. When you made the subtlest of changes to your bowling, he would pick it. That's how quick he was. That's how razor sharp he was. And that's one of the reasons why he was such a special player in the world, is because of the kind of things he could do. So special, absolutely special, and humbled and honored that I've played with some of the greatest in the game, one of them being Sachin Tendulkar.
And Farzan from North Stand Gang, big cricket fans they are. He has wanted to know, should Virat be playing more on back foot? I mean, is that the difference between Virat of 2018 and 2021?
Whether it's front foot or back foot, Vijay, I think there are certain deliveries which you can't get sucked into. And I think that is something which is happening to Virat right now, is the mental discipline. Everybody talks about Sachin Tendulkar not playing a shot or cover drive when he got the double 100 at Sydney. It's mental discipline, isn't it? When Brian Charles Lara, who could play all the shots in the book, when you're going through a slump, when you limit or minimize the kind of shots which will get you out, and you make the bowler bowl to you, I think that is exactly what Virat is not doing at the moment. And he's such a good player. And it's a bit surprising that he's also repeating the same kind of mistakes again, because he's got that mental fortitude, the mental discipline to say, okay, if Jimmy Anderson wants to hang it out there, I'm not going to play a shot. I will make you come and bowl to me. And that is something which Sachin did, or Brian Charles Lara did, or all these great players did. They didn't get sucked into the bowler's plan. They forced the bowler to bowl to them. So yeah, for sure, whether it's back foot or front foot, that's a personal adjustment. It's about discipline, mental discipline.
And our friend Ehsan Qureshi Saab, a very senior journalist from Pakistan, in short, same question related to Kohli. I mean, why is he struggling? I mean, if he is struggling, he seems to be struggling. Why? Because he's such a wonderful batsman to watch.
Exactly. I think everybody goes through that. That is something which you need to not bother too much about, because every sports person has had some sort of a slump, some big, some small. And I still remember Chris Gale asking Ricky Ponting a question. And he said, what do you do whether you're getting hundreds or getting fives and zeros? He says, my process is still the same. My preparation is still the same. When something has worked for you, you need to trust that. And that is something which you need to do. But also, again, somewhere down the line, when you're not doing certain things right, it's that mental discipline. There is that edge which you have over the others. And somebody like Virat has had the edge over the others because he's mentally so strong, because he believes he can do it, because he knows his drive and hunger to be the best player in the world is much more than anyone else. But somewhere down the line, any human is at the end of the day, he's human. So maybe there is something in his own mind which is not clicking at the moment.
And Imran Sheikh wants to know, from the bowling lineup of the last test match, any change for the coming one? You would, if you would like to suggest.
I would love to see Ashwin in the team.
Right, you would love to see Ashwin, yeah. And Karan Kataria has a very good question. Next big thing in spinners in India.
I don't know. I haven't seen any.
So
maybe the spin quartet will have to reincarnate.
Yeah, because
more than the spin quartet, and also the spinners of that time who couldn't make the grade because of the greatness of these four guys like Dilip Bhai and all the others, all the great bowlers who were there before Rajinder Singh Hans, Padmalkar Shivalkar, all those great bowlers, V.S. Vijay Krishna. Maybe they'll all have to reincarnate.
Yeah. And last two questions from me, then these young boys will take over. Ayan Acharya, my colleague from the Sports Star, has a very interesting question. He says, has the role of number 3 changed in test matches since the days of Dravid? And Pujara, what does he mean to this generation of T10 and T20?
Pujara is still cut from the old cloth. And just recently when we won in Australia, he was like a rock of Gibraltar there. He got hit, he got bruised, but he didn't give up. And that is something which we need. And again, it's a slump in form. It's a slump or a lack of runs. Again, the tongue start wagging and you start criticizing a player who's done so well for you. So it's a question of time. I would still say that somebody like a Pujara is like the spinal cord around which all the other stroke makers play their shots. It's because that he's a glue there. You know that from one end you have to work really hard. And again, in test match cricket, what is it? It's miles in the bowler's legs. And that is something which Pujara is going to make you do. As a bowler, you have to go back and back again and again and keep bowling to him and really get a good delivery to get him out. So he's somebody who's needed in the side. Yes, lack of runs for sure, but that's where you show that persistence. That's where you know that this guy has done this before for us. So when he can do it before, why can't he do it later? And why do we have such, why is everybody like a goldfish? Why do we have such short attention spans or memory banks? I don't understand that. So we need to, you've picked a side, which has done well for you. You hail them one day and you bring them down the next day. I don't think it's right. They themselves will be unhappy. They themselves know that these are the kind of mistakes which they make. And somebody like a Virat is quite candid about it. He's not somebody who brushes anything under the carpet. He's quite, accepting of any mistake which happens. So that is something which even we need to be quite aware of and also have a bit more patience is what I feel. We all tend to celebrate and take them to the top of Mount Everest and take them to Mariana Trench the next day.
Right. And the last question from me, Nishant Arora wants you to share the story with us. How you scared an Indian actor on a tube station and made him run for life.
Nishantjit Arora, he still remembers. This was from Bishan Paji's tour in 1995. And the man in question you're talking about is Angad Bedi, who's now an actor, Bishan Paji's son. And me and Rahul, Nishant was also there. We played a prank on him. And this was in England. Have you heard of this station called Austerley? Austerley, it's very close to the Heathrow Airport. So that's where we were staying around that area. And me and Rahul played a prank on him. We managed to scare him. Rahul suddenly sprung out of somewhere and it was all pre-planned. And I've never seen Angad run so fast in my life.
So Kartik sir, you were, in 2007 mid-series, you were in this broadcasting panel, and then you were called from there to play a match. So how did that happen?
You should ask the selectors. I have no idea. I was talking about the game because I was given the permission and I had no idea that I was going to get picked. I had just come back from England and suddenly I was picked. So you should ask the selectors. How did that happen?
Yes, go ahead, Maitra.
Yes, sir. And in that series only, in the last match, you took 6 wicket haul. So about that also, you didn't expect a return, and then after the return, when you got the chance, you performed really well. So talk about that match and about when you bowled there. Talk about
Maitra, it was not as if I didn't expect the return. It's just that I didn't expect the return midway through the series because I had been doing really well and I had not done badly for India when I got dropped. So I had no idea that I would be picked midway. I had no hope that way. Sometimes you have a hope that you're going to get picked before the series, but when you're not picked, then you resort to doing other things. So yeah, it was a bit of a surprise, and I had not just the last game which was good for me, the entire series went really well for me. So yeah, again, see, you always, for me, the simple philosophy in life which I learned from the great Bishan Bedi and Maninder Singh was always that whatever be the situation, you have to bowl well. Only when you bowl well can you get wickets. So that's the first job which one has to do. You don't think that you're going into a game to get wickets. If you bat well, you'll get runs. If you bowl well, you will get wickets. Sometimes there are days when you don't get wickets, but the satisfaction that you've bowled well is something which has to be with you at the end of the day.
So this question comes from Saurav Sinha. So he asks, why does people feel that left-arm spinners are good only for right-handers? How to break that line of thinking?
Well, I need to meet these people who think like that, firstly. Only then can you break the chain, isn't it?
Yeah. He wants to know why.
Please introduce me to them and then I will speak to them then.
Yes, sir. And then another listener, Arnav Verma, he asked about what were your initial experiences as a commentator in the cricket commentary. What were your initial experiences and how you gotten and about the journey?
Yeah, it's a wonderful question because what happens is that everybody thinks that if you're a cricketer, or you can just walk in or breeze into a commentary box or media center and just start talking about it. Media is very different. That is something which one understands as one works. And for many of us, we are not media trained that way. We don't have classes to tell you that this is how commentary is done. This is how something is done. Thankfully for me, I had some wonderful seniors in Arun Lal who helped me a lot. Initially, Mr. Harsha Bogle helped me a lot. Sanjay Bangar was somebody who also helped me in a big way in terms of things which you learn. And that is something which happened. So the experiences were always good because the most important thing for anybody is is the ability to articulate. If you have that, then it's half the job done for you. So if I can't explain something to you, then it becomes doubly tough. You learn the straps, you learn whatever needs to happen inside the comm box once you get there. But yeah, it's not an easy thing. If you ask me a question, I can give you an answer. But cricket commentary is something which is running along with the game. So you have to be slightly ahead of the game in trying to explain to the viewer, also have a good voice, also have good diction, also, as I said, be articulate enough to explain things to the viewer, not be too boring, be interesting. It's a huge package. And you're constantly evolving. Sometimes people listen to you because you're a cricketer who's just walked into the comm box. But beyond a certain point of time, you have to understand that now you're a broadcaster. The cricketer in you goes away. Yes, the cricketer in you is there to explain the game, but you can't just assume that just because I'm a cricketer, people are going to listen to me. I need to make some sense as well. I need to add some insights as well. So whether it is 2 bits, 4 bits, 6 bits, depending on the situation. But these are things which you keep looking at as a commentator. Obviously, your preparation has to be there. Yes, we are helped in a big way by our stats people and all the other things, but lots of things are also individual over there.
So this next question comes from Never on the Back Foot podcast, our friends from there. So they ask your perspectives on women's cricket, and can we see you commentate on the same anytime soon?
I would love to if I'm given an opportunity, for sure. Why wouldn't I? And also it's good that lots of people are taking to the women's game in a big way. They are trying to make sure that it's as entertaining as what we assume men's cricket to be, or we see men's cricket to be. Obviously, there are different challenges there because the size of the boundaries are different. They are still playing to the same yardage, which is 22 yards. So just to make the game a lot more entertaining, and also the way they prepare, the way they train, it's great that women's cricket in India is under the aegis of BCCI. So that's given them a great boost and a great fillip. The way they train, the way they travel, the way they are taken care of. So it's come a long way. And again, it's about how entertaining you can make the game, isn't it? At the end of the day, it's only if it's entertaining. T20 is entertaining, so people come and watch. Fast food is entertaining, so you go and eat. Movies are entertaining, so you go and watch. If a movie is not doing well, you say it's a flop movie. So it's about making any sport entertaining enough that it has value. So that is something which needs to be done. And you're constantly looking for ways and means to make men's game and women's game more watchable.
So, sir, another listener, Anurag Sinha. So he asks, what's easy to do? Commentating in a very close India match or bowling the last over for India in a very close game?
Commentating, obviously. There is no pressure on me, Bowling, if I lose the game, then Maitreya, you'll be shouting at me, what, you useless bowler. Commentating, I just have to say something,
So, this question comes again from Never on the Back Foot podcast. So it's kind of very quick predictions for the upcoming tournaments that we have. The India-England series, then the IPL, upcoming T20 World Cup, and Women's ODI World Cup in 2022.
So tell me, Chiru, do you think I am an astrologer or something?
Just a prediction, sir.
No, but prediction is done by astrologers, no? How can I make predictions? I'm not a palmist or a tarot card reader, or I'm not a parrot who's going to come and pick, or an octopus which is going to come and pick something. Huh? How can I make predictions, you tell me? And if the predictions don't come right, then you will kill me then. No, I'm not going to make predictions.
No, just, we could make it as an interaction kind of.
Okay, India-England series will be won by Bermuda. Next. World T20 will be won by Namibia. Next.
Correct.
IPL.
IPL will be won by Lahore Lions. Next.
Women's One Day International Cup 2022.
Sorry?
Women's One Day International Cup.
Papua New Guinea.
See, Chiru, the essence is in cricket, you don't make predictions.
Exactly.
Because you never make predictions. Nobody makes. When you go for a toss, you know you are a strong team, but still you don't know that you don't claim or you don't announce that you're going to win. So this is
okay.
One thing.
Chiru and Maitreya, which class are you studying in?
10th
standard.
So maths, how much are you getting in the next exams?
Don't know.
Science, how much will you get in the next exam?
No, don't know.
Okay, so 12th, when you get there, no, now you know. Good analogy. Thank you very much.
Good one, Kartik. That was a good one. Yes, Maitreya, go ahead.
Yes, sir. The next question also comes from Never on the Back Foot, and they are asking the trickiest.
They are asking everything. They are asking everything on the front foot, and they keep saying never on the back foot.
They have asked actually 22 questions. We had to break them down to 3 questions.
They should only say only on the front foot. They shouldn't say never on the back foot.
So, sir, they are asking who is the trickiest and toughest batsman to bowl to?
Matthew Hayden for me.
Yes, sir.
And your favorite from playing days and your favorite movement from playing days and commentary box combined, which would it be?
Look at lots of things, lots of different things. Can't compare. For me, getting Steve out was a big moment. Playing for India is the biggest moment. Can't beat it. Getting a test cap from Kapil Paji and Sachin is a big moment. Obviously, winning man of the matches for India is a great moment. Just playing, being in the team for 8-9 years is a huge moment. So there are lots of big moments. Winning the Ranji Trophy with an unfancied side like Railways is a great moment for me, because Vijay Bhai knows how we used to live and how we used to train and all that. So, and nobody spoke about any of us. So it's all big moments in life. Playing sport is the biggest thing. Chiru, just trust me. You find these moments, but just being there, being part of teams, being able to share so much in those 26 years, it sets you up for life in terms of experiences.
Yes, sir. And from all these years of cricketing experience and everything, what is your advice to upcoming cricketers and or commentators, sir, who are trying to go into the cricket field? What is your advice for them?
See, commentators, I don't have any advice, because I'm myself in the process of trying to figure out many things. From a cricketing point of view and from a sportsman's point of view, all I would say is that if you get into sport, it has to be with a lot of diligence and conviction, because sport is going to test you out. Sport is going to throw in lots of potholes and pitfalls in front of you, but it's your mindset, it's your belief. And more than that, as I say, self-belief, because the world is there to knock you down. Like as a bowler, you're trying to knock the batsman down. As a batsman, you're trying to knock the bowler down or hit him. Similarly, there are lots of other factors as well which come into play, which are going to pull you down or trying to hit you and knock you down. But it's that self-belief which carries you forward in anything in life. If that self-belief is gone, everything is gone. There's no point in doing anything. So it's very important that you have that self-belief intact at all times. Yes, you will feel a bit low. Yes, you're going to be disappointed, disgruntled at times. But if you allow that to be knocked, then you're knocked.
Yeah. So are we through with the questions, Chiru? The Twitter questions?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, because and it's been wonderful. I think we have. Do you have any questions for these two young fellows, Kartik? Because I mean, when I was their age, I wouldn't have asked. I wouldn't have done this a podcast of their own. It's been on for almost 6 months now. A weekly podcast it is, and if you can tell them something.
So one thing which I'll say, and I know you guys are in the 10th, and this is something which is very important, Maitre. And I know that you guys are in a tough world, and it's going to only get tougher because the competition is up there. You're competing with many people for most things. But again, all I would say is that never ever think that you deserve anything on the planet. Nobody owes you anything. That's how, if you have that kind of an attitude, you will always be striving to do well. It's only when you feel entitled, you feel, I should be getting it. Why should I be working for it? Never get into that rut or into that kind of a mindset. It is only going to take you downwards. It's never going to take you up. Why is Virat Kohli so good? Because he wants to be the best in the world, not because he thinks he's already the best in the world. If he thinks he's already the best in the world, he'll stop working hard. But he wants to be the best in the world. And that is a continuous process. So, which means that you're always going to strive hard to be the best and to be there for a long time. So that kind of an attitude has to be kept intact with yourselves at all times, whether good days, bad days, very bad days. So you need to have that thing. So that's all I'll say.
And may I ask you one question, Kartik, which I've never asked you, and if you can answer here, it will be great for us. For our podcast, the role of Shweta in your career. I mean, your cricket, and now you're traveling all over the world as a commentator, and how she has backed you, and what role has she played in your growth as your overall progress as a cricketer and as a commentator?
I think I don't even have words to explain it, Vijay, because she has been a father, mother, sister, friend, cushion, because again, she's the one who's privy to everything, isn't it? She's the one who has seen everything. When you have good days, bad days, when you're dropped, when you're the elation of being picked, the elation of doing well. And also, as you rightly said, behind you, all that we go through as sports people, just to manage everything. In fact, I would say she's also the financial consultant. She's the one who manages the home. She does everything. And I also remember the days when, although she's not somebody who knows the game brilliantly, but you always feel for your husband and his emotions, his success. So I still remember the days when she would constantly put vibhuti on the television, that so that I am having a good day. So it's small things. I think that's why I said that it's the blessings you count from your near and dear ones, which takes you wherever you are. We constantly think that I'm the one who's the gun cricketer, the gun bowler, the gun batsman. No, it's because of the blessings and prayers of your parents, your siblings, your wife, and all your loved ones, your friends, which carries you through. It's not me individually, it's the others who have made me. So that's why I said I don't have enough and more words. I can keep saying, but I'll possibly keep coming around in circles. So as I said, it's a huge one, which is tough to explain.
Thank you, Kartik. Thank you.
So it was pleasure to have you, Kartik Murali sir, on this show. It was good to talk to you, and ask all our questions. It was pleasure having you on this show. And make sure you follow us, listeners. Make sure you follow us on Twitter, Instagram. Join our Discord server. We can talk about cricket, chat with us. So that's all for this show. Thanks again, Kartik Murali sir, for coming on to this show.
Thank you, Vijay. Thank you, Maitre, and thank you, Chiru. And you got some great predictions from me.
Thank you very much.
And I really liked your sense of humor, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank God somebody likes it.
Thank you, Kartik. Thank you very much.
Cheers, Vijay. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Stay safe, everyone. Bye.
Bye, sir.
Bye, sir.